Hey everyone, if you're already here, if you're here early, welcome to the 5 Superpowers of Confident Selling. I'm going to turn my my video off because I think it's eating a lot of bandwidth. But if you're here, you may need to click a button that says Let Me In. So look on your screen if you can hear me for the Let Me In button, and that'll let you into the workshop. And once you're in, I'd love to hear from you. So maybe introduce yourself in the chat box. I'd love to know who's here. So I'm going to switch here to sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, but I see you in the chat box, Kim. Can you hear me okay? Hi, Erin. Nice to meet you. You guys can hear me okay? Okay, then maybe there isn't. When I did a test run, somebody said there was a Let Me In button. So, okay, if you guys are in, you're in. I love it. I'm going to turn my video off because it's really weird and slow. And it's probably a little disorienting for everyone to look at me in weird slow motion on the video. So where's my little button that I changed that? There it is. No. There it is. I got it. Okay. Can you guys see the slides okay? We're going to give a few minutes for people to join. And thank you guys for being here early. It's not super slow. Okay, good. Because on my computer, which I've been testing a few times the past few days, it's a little slow. Okay, fantastic. Hi, Nadia. Welcome. And I want to invite you guys to down below. There's a space to ask a question. So I would encourage you, if you have a specific sales question that you want to see if we can get to today, I will go ahead down below and ask your question or answer a question, I guess. What's your biggest sales challenge? Cynthia Mosser asked, what does a person say when they want to close a deal? And I'm curious, what do you guys think would most improve your sales outcome? So if you have a comment under one of those questions, feel free to jump in there. Welcome if you're just joining us. This is the 5 Superpowers of Confident Selling. I'm really excited to be sharing this with you guys today. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box if you haven't already, if you're just joining us. And we've got a few questions below the slide that you can see there. And feel free to jump in. If you have a question about sales or if you have a comment, feel free. And I'm going to check in with those periodically for you guys. And if you have sales questions that you would like answered, I'll do my best, but that's the place to let me know. So again, welcome for you guys just joining us. I'm gonna give it a few minutes for people to get online and get settled in. Hi, Condi. It's good to see you. I'm not sure how the system works, but some of you have these funny little, like, they look like old video game graphics, like very pixelated graphics next to you. But Erin, for some reason, has a very nice picture that maybe came with her profile, or perhaps she created a profile, but which is kind of funny, the little images. Welcome, you guys, if you're just joining us. We're going to give people a few minutes to get online with us here. And I've asked, if you haven't heard me already, I just repeated myself like 3 times, but please introduce yourself in the chat box. Let us know you're here. And there's some questions below and places where you can answer a couple questions about sales. If you have a specific question about sales, that's kind of the place to put it there, so I can try and get to your questions as much as possible, or let you know where else you can get the information if it's not something we're going to cover today. So I'm going to give us just a couple more minutes. Hi, guys. Oh, it's so thrilling to see Monique and Karen and Laura. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. So, oh, great. I see a new question from Kim. Kim says, as a coach, there seems to be conflict in whether you offer a free coaching session that then becomes a sales opportunity, or whether to do a consultation to discover sales points and then do sales if the opportunity arises. Yeah, that's a really good question, Kim. I'm a big believer in having your consultation or discovery session, or whatever you want to call it as a coach, having it up front and talking about it. Although I will say, sometimes I've met someone for coffee and it turned out they were really interested in working with me. And when we get to coffee, I'll say, would you like to just jump right in and have a strategy session during this time? So hopefully that answers your question. It's a good question, Kim. I think being upfront when you're having the sales conversation is usually the best way, whether it's on the fly, like I just said, or whether it is planned in advance. Okay. Oh, I got another question here. Do I? No, I already had 3. Okay. So I think we haven't had anyone new join. I'm gonna go ahead and get started and just jump in with introductions. I want to respect your time today, and I want you to get the most out of this. And if people trickle in, they can go ahead and trickle in. So thank you again, guys, for being with me today. I love this topic, and what's really funny about sales is I used to hate it. I used to hate it. I used to fear it, and it was not fun for me, this whole sales thing. So I'm really excited to share with you what I've learned over the years. And who among you here is with us because you want to get better at sales? Say in the chat box. Who's here because they want to improve their sales outcome so they can enroll more clients? Yeah. me. I am. Great. You work in sales. Oh, great, Erin. I'd love to hear your perspective as we go along. Fantastic. Hey, Robin. Good to see you. Okay. So let me to click on a different part of my screen to advance my slides. Here's the thing about sales. The thing is, I like to call it the mother skill, right? No business can survive without sales. You could be the best coach ever. You could be the best, name your profession here, the best therapist, the best consultant, whatever you do, the best healer. But you can't survive in business if you can't sell your services. Even if whatever you do is the best thing since sliced bread, it won't matter if you can't sell it. So that's why we're here today. And I think this is a really big challenge, especially for solopreneurs who go into business because they have a talent or a skill that they're passionate about. They're usually we're good at what we do. It's just the selling it that's a challenge. Would you guys agree with that? Do you have a skill and you offer a lot of value, but it's just really challenging to sell it sometimes? Feel free to jump in the chat box and let me know. Yeah, very, very common. And that's part of why I'm passionate about sharing this information, because I know what it's like to feel like you have this gift to give to the world, but if you can't give it, if you can't sell it, pretty much, unless you want to be a volunteer, and then you're not in business. And yes, Kim, you're right, especially as a helper or a healer, that can be challenging as well. Great. So we're all on the same page. Love it. The one other thing I want to share with you guys before we jump into the juicy stuff here is learning sales is a marathon, not a sprint. And I love for people to understand that. And I really wish there was a magic pill or an easy button to make you a sales superstar in 2 hours, but there isn't. And I know you're probably all really disappointed, but what I can do in our time today is help you get a better understanding of some really important things that are impacting your sales outcomes and share some tools and practices that you can use to up-level and start getting better results. So does that sound like a good use of our time today? To jump into some things that'll help you start to make improvements, even though it's not an easy button or a magic pill. I really wish I could create one of those, but I'll do the best I can today. Okay, so I know you've each kind of shared in the chat box your name with us, and thanks for jumping in and saying hi. I'd love for you guys just to quickly share, you don't have to say your name because I guess we can see your name, but share what is your business and what brought you here today. If you don't mind just typing in the chat box, I'd love to get a sense of who's in the room. It helps me serve you as best I can. If I know a little bit about what your business is, and if there's a specific reason that brought you here today, if there's a particular question you wanted answered or a particular skill that you want to build on, the more I know about that, the more that helps me. Okay, so Robin, business educator and online course writer and teacher. I knew that already, but thanks for resharing it. Erin, resident solar sales. Okay, your business is expanding and you're training employees. Well, welcome. Karen James, designing home textiles. Fantastic. That's interesting. Totally not in my skill set, but I appreciate people like you who do designing. Condi runs Cocoon Wellness Center, and she's curious today. So thanks, Condi. It's a pleasure to see you here. Kim is a divorce resilience coach and Reiki healer. And Laura, oh, hi, Laura, voice and acting speaker, coach, writer, speaker. It's Laura Handke, yes. So happy to see you here. You were hiding your last name, so I didn't know that was you. And Monique, Nerium, just to make a better version of yourself. Isn't Nerium a product or company that you represent, Monique? Just so I'm clear what that means. Clarify that for me when you get a second. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for sharing that. Like I said, it is helpful for me to just know who's in the room so I can best support you guys. Nadia is a software developer consultant. Awesome, welcome. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Oh, thanks, Monique. So Nerium is anti-aging wellness. Thank you for that. I suspected, but I wasn't sure. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Marianne, and really what my business is about is helping solopreneurs master the superpowers of business success. I do have an MBA in business. Hi, Emily, welcome. We're just getting started doing some introductions, Emily, so if you could share just what your business is and what brought you here today, and just listen on in. You're right on time. So as I was saying, I have an MBA in business with a strong focus in entrepreneurship. I've run businesses, I've worked in big businesses, and I've studied business. And of all the kind of businesses that I've worked in and studied and started, I really developed a special passion for solopreneurs. I think that being a solopreneur is a really unique journey among other types of businesses, and it has some really unique challenges. I've found it's a good fit for me despite the challenges, and I think it's one of these businesses that tends to be really passion driven. My guess is that many of us here today are here because we have a passion and a gift that we want to share with the world, and there's something really special about that. The other thing that I'm really passionate about is helping entrepreneurs reap the rewards of being an entrepreneur, because having your own business can really be an uphill battle. It can be a steep learning curve, especially if you're in it alone. But if you stick with it, and if you're smart and strategic, the rewards, to me at least, are really huge. Freedom, flexibility, and financial prosperity. Those are all top 3 on my list of personal values. And the ability to make a generous living doing work you love while helping others. I mean, to me, there's nothing better than that. Excuse me. So this is a big part of why I do what I do and why I'm here supporting all of you today. So that's a little bit about me. You guys can have a chance to ask more questions later, but basically, I love entrepreneurship. I love supporting other entrepreneurs, and I like people to learn just what they need to know and cut through the BS and all the distractions out there so they can really get results. That's really where I come from in my business. So, and I want to tell you too, we're going to cover a lot of information today. And as we said, there's really no easy button to get better at sales. But if you're interested in learning more at the end today, I'm going to tell you how you can get some more support. And I'm also going to offer something special to all of you guys if you take me up on that offer. So I do have a special bonus for you guys. So stick around to the end and you can hear more about how to up-level your sales beyond this 2-hour window today that we have together. Okay, so our top takeaways for today are understanding your personal sales challenges, learning the 5 superpowers of confident selling. We're going to gain a deeper understanding of what sales is and what's important. And then I'm going to share with you some ways to supercharge your selling. Oh, thanks, Condi. I'm glad you could make it today. We had technical issues on the 7th, actually, so it's good that you were able to come today. Okay, so these are our main takeaways for today. And the other thing is, as we're jumping into our first exercise here, I really like to lead workshops that become a conversation. So I'm going to ask you some questions. I hope you guys have a notebook handy, because I'm also going to give you a little space to do a little journaling and do some exercises and answer questions as we go. And I really feel like that integration of what we're talking about by having some little Q&A and having you write things out, it's really going to help you learn better today. So I want to just start by taking a moment and tuning into what is your biggest obstacle when it comes to sales. You know, are you getting the outcomes that you want? And if not, why do you think that is? So again, feel free to take a moment or two in your notes, and also, or as an alternative, throw it in the chat box so we can see. I think the more we share what our challenges are as a group today in this conversation, the more we'll all get out of it. So what are you getting the outcomes that you want with your sales efforts, and why do you think that is? And if you feel like you're not getting the outcomes you want, what is it that you think will help you? Monique says she doesn't want to be obnoxious or pushy. Yeah, that's like the number one reason that people are uncomfortable with sales, because they feel, or they sometimes see people being obnoxious or pushy making sales, or they assume they have to be obnoxious or pushy to be successful. And I'm glad you brought it up, because I want to help you guys to learn to sell without selling out and being that pushy person. So we're going to talk about some things today that are going to help with that. Karen's saying she just started selling online with no sales after 1 month and still trying to determine what customers want. Yeah, Karen, that's a great thing that you brought up. Selling online is different than selling in person. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today is about in-person selling. However, I think you'll get some value. And if you're still trying to determine what customers want, we are going to talk about some ways to get to know your customer better today. So hopefully that will help you out. So if anyone else wants to share, you know, what's in your way, why do you think you're not getting the outcomes that you want, or what is it that you think will help me, go ahead and post that in the chat box. And I'm going to give a little space for you guys. I'm going to stop talking for a moment or two and just kind of let you collect thoughts in your notes as well around that. So what's getting in your way? I'm going to give you a couple minutes. And if you have questions while I'm giving a little bit of quiet, you can feel free to throw those in the chat box, and I'll see if I can reply to them. Laura is saying she tends to have problems succinctly and dynamically describing the benefits and the outcome. Well, Laura, what I love about what you just said is that you're describing the benefits and the outcome, because a lot of people are talking about other things that are less important. If you're talking about the benefits and the outcome, you're talking about the right thing. So you're definitely on the right track there. And Condi's saying she used to have some fear and she's overcome that now. Fantastic. What helped you overcome the fear, Condi? Just out of curiosity, I'd love for everyone to kind of learn from you what helped you with that. Great, using tapping, fear of success and failure. Fantastic, thanks for sharing. That's so great to know. It's always good to know like what helps people have their breakthroughs. So Kim is saying not having enough leads is a challenge, and tending to overcoach or overconsult and not leave enough time. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, Kim. We're going to talk about providing value and making sure it's proportional value, meaning, you know, how to know when you're overgiving. That's a really good one. And I think for those of us who have a lot of passion about what we do and who are really passionate also about helping people, it's really easy to overgive. And Nadia's saying she's dealing with software, and these days there's so much software for free. Oh, it's hard to convince people why they should pay money. Yeah, so differentiating yourself and really outlining the value. Yep, that's a good one. Emily's saying she has a hard time not rambling and doesn't know when to sell unless it's an actual sales call. Yeah, that's a good one. We were talking about that, Emily. It might have been right before you jumped on the call. Kim had asked, as a coach, should I have a discovery session or a consultation, or should I just have coffee with someone and let it, you know, morph into a sales call? And I really like defining when your sales call is going to be a sales call, or if you feel it shifting there, saying, I feel like you sound like you're really interested. Do you want to talk about what that would look like? And something as simple as that could kind of shift you into the permission of making it a sales conversation when maybe it wasn't to start with. Erin's saying finding leads is a challenge, finding business partners with like-minded viewpoints. Yeah, great. Those are all good challenges. We'll definitely be covering some of those today. So I'm going to jump in now to the 5 superpowers of confident selling. And thanks you guys for sharing. Again, we'll have some more opportunities to share and discuss as we go. Really, I created this training because one of the things I realized in my own business and in my clients' and students' businesses is I felt like when people were trying to learn sales, they were looking for the perfect script and everyone was looking for solutions on the surface, right? And what I realized over time in doing this work is that about 80% of what makes a successful sale happens behind the scenes. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today is actually behind the scenes sales secrets that people really aren't talking about. Some of them will be familiar to you, some of them are not. There's a couple that are more strategy focused, but I find if you get these things in place, the rest of it becomes a lot easier. So that's kind of what's behind these 5 superpowers that I'm going to share with you. So let's jump in. So the first one is be yourself. And now this sounds so simple, but really it's the most powerful thing you can be to succeed in sales. And I would say, especially if you're a solopreneur and especially if your business is based on your personal brand, because being you is literally what attracts the right kind of clients to you. And being you is also unconditionally what you're meant to be and do on this earth, regardless of your business or career path. You are literally designed to be you, okay? So don't be afraid to send out your bat signal bright and proud and just be exactly who you are. So I want you to take a couple minutes now and write 5 ways that being yourself supports your business. I'm going to throw that in the chat box here. Write 5 ways being yourself supports your business and sales. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. And again, once you write them down, feel free to share them in the chat box. And then as you do this, to think of like, what do your customers get from you that they can't get from anyone else? Okay, maybe you have a gift for making them feel safe, valued, or heard. Or maybe you've innovated a unique product that they can't get anywhere else. Maybe you're going to provide better service than a competitor, Nadia, with your software. What would differentiate you from all the free offers that you're competing with out there? And even if you have a service that might be relatively common, only you deliver it the way you deliver it. And that's your special sauce. So again, I'm going to give you a little space, and just when you're ready, share a couple of the things that you do, ways that being yourself adds value to your business. Monique saying she tries to be positive and upbeat. That's a fantastic quality to bring to the sales conversation or bring to your business. Nobody wants to work with Debbie Downer. And I think the thing is here, it might sound like a small thing, like I'm a positive person, but it really isn't a small thing because people make choices with who they buy from and who they do business from based on a personal experience. And again, being positive and upbeat is actually a huge value add. Again, I think sometimes we undervalue some of these personal qualities that we have. So thanks for sharing that, Monique. That's a great example. Something that sounds small, but it actually can be quite important in your business. I'm going to give you guys a little more time. And again, when you're ready, throw one in the chat box for us. That'll let me know that you've had enough time to kind of gather your thoughts and write a few ways that being yourself supports your business. And I'm going to imagine that you're all writing away, but I would also say if anyone's feeling challenged with this question, go ahead and let us know and let me know if I can support you through this question if you need help. Okay. Oh, thanks, Laura, for letting us know you're listening on the fly. Thank you. Check-ins are always helpful. Okay, Robin. Oh, you all 5. Gold star for Robin. Robin is smart. She chooses logic over feelings. She's an extrovert. She's excited when people see transformation in their work. Awesome. And not afraid to tell someone to be realistic, not idealistic. I love that last one. I think I often will share with clients, look, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what's going to help you with your business. And I do it in a really nice way, but there's something to that. And I think that ability to help people be realistic and manage expectations. So that's a fantastic value add for your clients, Robin. Karen's saying she's having a little trouble other than the obvious, training and design, etc. Believing prospective customers sense when we're genuine. Yeah. So if you're being genuine, Karen, that's a huge one. People can absolutely sense when we're not being genuine. So I would absolutely add that to your list. And I would guess you've got training and design, but some other things, I'm just going to throw out a few examples and you can decide if they apply to you or not. Some designers, for example, are really good at kind of translating with a client who doesn't understand design but wants you to create a beautiful space for them or a beautiful textile for them. Some designers are really good at conveying design to others that they have to work with, whether it's a client or someone else. So you might have that ability to translate. You might have the ability to capture someone else's ideas and instruction in a design. There might be some ways that you express that, or it might just be the process that you go through with people. Perhaps you help people, again, feel safe in the sense of, if design isn't familiar to them. Or perhaps you just create awesome designs that people want. Those are all different ways that you can bring yourself into the conversation. Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for sharing. I'm going to leave that open for you guys to continue to share if you would like. And I want to move to the next concept here, which is, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, well, I'm not going to be myself today. I'm totally going to be somebody else. But sometimes we accidentally kind of get pulled off track from who we really are. And I want to talk a little bit about where the disconnect happens. So sometimes we feel like we have to be someone we're not, talk like we wouldn't normally talk, or sometimes we might just get caught up in negative emotions and become kind of that sales alter ego that we all are terrified of being, right? We don't want to be the pushy, obnoxious one, or the one who who comes across as all self-absorbed when I don't listen to anyone and I'm just giving out business cards like there's no tomorrow, right? No one wakes up and says, I'm not going to be myself. It's not on purpose. But here are some of the ways the disconnect happens. We might be leading with our ego, right? We might forget to show up in service, for example, and instead we might be leading with what we want, or that we're more important than the person we're talking to. It might be that we just don't know what we're doing. Again, you don't wake up one morning and become a sales superstar. It's a process. It's a skill set that you learn. And sometimes when we're in a situation, when we're unfamiliar or don't know what we're doing, we don't intentionally act differently, but we might just because we're being pulled off center by the fact that we're unsure. Being uncomfortable is another way that the disconnect sometimes happens, right? Another thing I sometimes see as small business owners, one big source of information is the internet. And when you're Googling, marketing and sales online, sometimes you tend to find information intended for the big business model. And sometimes we follow experts who are teaching something that might not be a fit for us. And so, I do a lot of work with conscious women entrepreneurs. And the reason I love working with that group is the big business, masculine American sales model isn't always a good fit for us. If we're women, if we are more mindful or conscious in the way that we carry ourselves in the world. And so if we're finding information based on that kind of big business model, it just might not fit. And we're trying to fit into that and it doesn't work. Another place where the disconnect happens is we might not be valuing ourselves enough. And that, again, is a source of discomfort. that might kind of lead us off or create insecurities. And then the last thing that can happen is we're fixated on our own needs. I think certainly everyone at the beginning of their business at some point feels a need or an urgency to make a sale. And sometimes if you're in that sales conversation and you're thinking about, ooh, I really need to make the sale, and you forget to show up in service for the person you're sitting with in that conversation, they feel that. And even though you might have the best intentions and still really care about that person, if you let that energy of your own needs get in the way, that can create that disconnect. And it might make you come across as overeager, or might make you come across as uncaring or not tuned in, even if that's not actually the case. So these are just a few things to be aware of. And you can tell a lot of these really come from your mindset. And these are things that you can manage by collecting yourself before you go into a sales conversation and setting some intentions around showing up in service and really being yourself. I did it before this webinar. I said, geez, I don't know everyone who's going to show up. And I just had a moment and I said, my intention is to really just show up in service for everyone who shows up today. So it's a really simple thing that you can do that can kind of help you turn off whatever is competing for your attention and your energy in a sales conversation. So is that helpful to kind of hear some of the reasons that we accidentally are not being ourselves? Can anyone relate to some of these things here? Feel free to jump in the chat box. Yeah. Like, no one wants to be that pushy person at a networking event, but I'll tell you, my first business 12 years ago, I did exactly that. And then I felt horrible afterwards because I was like, that was awful. I can't believe I did that. Why did I do that? I didn't go in there wanting to do that, but I just went in and uncomfortably gave out business cards and didn't know what questions to ask, right? I didn't do it on purpose. So I think we all have some of those situations from time to time. And I think just the awareness and a simple practice of grounding yourself to be yourself as you go into a sales call is sometimes all it takes. So I'm going to reflect a little bit on some of the stuff that's come in on the chat with ways that we can be ourselves. So Emily is saying she's a good listener, so she can cater her services to what people need because she's really listening. Fantastic. That's a big one. She loves details and organization, allowing clients not to worry about details being missed. Yes, if you are a type A and someone else isn't a type A, that can be a match made in heaven to just stay on top of those details. Experience working in nonprofits, volunteer, and with city organizations, which enables you to help clients plan group projects on their retreats. Excellent. Yeah, having an understanding of their world so you can kind of move within it and support them. And yeah, those are really great, Emily. I think after the webinar or just in general, check in from time to time and look at where are my strengths and how is being myself helping my business. Those are great. Thanks for joining us, Kim, while you could. And yeah, we'll be sending you the replay and you can catch the rest of it. Thanks for joining us. And Condi sharing her superpowers. I love that. Over-the-top optimism, always a good thing. Channeled spiritual coaching, very powerful. Assisting in miraculous healing, very powerful. And these are things I'm hearing too that like people really can't get from other people. They're very unusual. Clearing blocks for people, that's an awesome superpower. And a contagious giggle. I wish I could hear it right now, but thank you. Those are great. So you can see, guys, I love the spectrum, Condi. Contagious giggle is something, thank you for sharing the LOL, the silent contagious giggle. Yeah, so the contagious giggle feels like something really small, but if it makes someone else laugh and brings joy to someone else, it actually is something that adds value. So I think, again, we don't often think of these little things as having value. And I'm telling you they do. So let's check in. So sales is something you're not going to learn overnight, okay? And remember, too, that it takes time to practice. So all the little things we just talked about, just grounding yourself and reminding yourself to stay in tune with who you truly are and being genuine. This is a small, simple thing that you can do. And like anything else, it just takes time and practice. And again, it's been probably a couple years since I had a sales conversation where I felt really uncomfortable. But a couple years isn't that long ago when I often felt very uncomfortable. And the way I got through it was I practiced. And I practiced and I practiced and I practiced until I got blue in the face. Again, going back to kind of the marathon metaphor, you don't just wake up one day and run 26.2 miles. You train for it. You practice. And sales isn't any different. You don't have to do 26.2 miles worth of sales regularly to practice, but you do need to practice, and it really does help. Okay. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to hit the reset button. So this is something that I like to do because we kind of just talked about ways we accidentally show up inauthentically in a sales conversation. And I find it really helpful to just take a moment and forgive ourselves for the times when we showed up in a way we didn't love. Like the time I told you about where I went and gave a bunch of business cards, and then I left that meeting with nothing to show for it. And I kind of felt embarrassed for, feeling like a clod. So I like to say, forgive yourself here for all the times that you felt awkward, the times that you didn't make the ask because you were too nervous, times that you might have been overeager and scared people away. Again, anything I share with you here, know that I've been there and done that. And forgiving yourself for times that you might have flubbed through what you meant to say. So I'm going to give you a moment, and I really just encourage you to write literally, I forgive myself for, and whatever that awkward or uncomfortable sales experience or experiences might have been in your past, I want you to forgive yourself for that. I forgive myself for all the times that I lost the sale for whatever the reason. I want you to write down a few of those things, clear the slate before we move forward today. And if you'd like to share a few things that you're letting go of and forgiving yourself for, feel free to throw them in the chat box. And if you don't feel like sharing, that's okay too. But I just want you to, I'm going to give you a little quiet so you can just write, I forgive myself for, and give yourself permission to let go of whatever you haven't done right in the past on your sales, whatever hasn't worked out, whether it was you or some other factor. Just let it go. Yes, Condi, I agree. Self-forgiveness is very powerful. Oh, Robin, that's such a good one. She forgives herself for not following up. Me too. Me too. Yeah, that's a really good one. Thanks for sharing that. By the way, I want to thank you guys, not just for being here, but for being willing to share and for creating a safe space here for us all to share. Yeah. So, and know that we'll be sharing the replay with people, but this is a safe community to share. And by doing so, you're adding value for everyone here or who might see the replay. So thank you for that. Karen's forgiving herself for being too analytical. Yeah. Yeah. How could you change that, Karen? Are there ways that you could let that go in your next conversation, or could you set an intention? And what would the opposite of that be? Do you need to show up with more heart? Is it about listening more? What would you like to shift around working on opening up creativity? Fantastic. I love that you want to forgive yourself for something, but you kind of know what you want to replace that with. You're letting go of it and bringing in creativity. Excellent. Okay, I'm just going to give a little more space, and then we will move on to superpower number 2. Do you guys want another minute, or are you good to move on? I don't want to rush you, so just checking in. Condi, forgiving yourself for choices you made because you didn't know better. Oh yeah, that's a big one too. Another minute. Okay, thanks, Nadia, for saying so. Like I said, I didn't want to rush you guys. I love that you said that, Condi, because I feel like part of why I love supporting solopreneurs is we don't know what we don't know. And when you don't know what you don't know, you don't even know what questions to ask, or you don't know what you're doing wrong or what you could have done differently at times, right? I think it's powerful to recognize that we don't know what we don't know. Truth bomb, yeah. Oh, I'm a big fan of the truth bomb. You'll hear a few today. I'm not averse to telling people where I've screwed up or what I've done wrong in the past. So you'll definitely hear some truth bombs from me today. If anyone else was needing a little more time, just maybe either post a share in the chat box or just give us a quick signal that you're ready to move on. Nadia's saying she forgives herself for procrastinating in sales process and doing it a lot because you have a hard time selling. Yeah, that's another really big one. I can definitely attest to having procrastinated sales activities. And sometimes it's different activities depending on, where I'm at in the learning process or what it is. But yeah, I think that's a really big one. And I think, again, this conversation we're having today about sales, a huge part of it is about getting out of your comfort zone and embracing something that you need to learn to do better that essentially feels uncomfortable because you haven't learned or mastered it yet. And I think as humans, we avoid what's uncomfortable and we avoid change, and we are really good at it. So yeah, that's a really big one. Oh, and Condi says she has a tapping sequence on procrastination. So that's fantastic. Maybe there's a way we could coordinate. Would you be willing to share that with us, Condi? For any of us who have ever procrastinated in our sales, that'd be great. Laura is saying she forgives herself for not believing in herself or stepping into her power for so many years. Yeah, that's a doozy, huh? That's a deep one. Yeah, thanks, Condi. We can figure out what it looks like after, maybe by an email or something, or whatever that looks like to you if you're willing. No pressure, but but yeah, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, Laura, that's a really big one. Has anyone else here felt like they've been down on themselves for not stepping into their power or for playing small? There's so many ways that can show up. I think that's a really big one for most of us. Yeah, Nadia's agreeing with you too. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. These are really powerful shares. I really feel like why I like to create conversations if I'm doing an in-person workshop or a webinar is I think it normalizes our experience to hear from someone else the problem that we have. I think it's so powerful. And I think it adds to the self-forgiveness, like, oh, so-and-so has that issue too, or, oh, I'm not alone with that. And I think a big part of succeeding as solopreneurs is getting with other people, getting out of our little vacuum, right? And understanding that we're not alone in a lot of the challenges that we have. I think there's real power in that. So thank you guys for sharing. Okay, you guys ready for secret number 2? Secret number 2 is know your customer. So I know a couple of you mentioned it in the questions earlier on that not knowing what the customer wants can sometimes be a challenge, and you're absolutely right. So I have a fun little story that I like to tell, or a metaphor that I use for this. Oh, thanks, Condi. That's awesome. Condi is sharing a self-forgiveness audio that she has on her blog. Thank you for that. That's wonderful. I'm going to check that out later myself. Here's the thing about knowing your customer, and this is one of the strategic. So secret number 1, be yourself. That's really energetic. It's really a mindset issue that you need to address in your business and be mindful of. Knowing your customer is strategic. Okay, this is one of the important strategic things you need to have in place. So talking to the wrong customer is like trying to get a dog to eat bird food. And I'm going to tell you straight out, if you don't have a dog, dogs don't eat bird food. Bird food is for birds and maybe squirrels, right? But the point is, you're never going to get a dog excited to eat bird food, except for Hank in the picture. So I couldn't resist because I'm a dog person, and these are so cute. Thanks, Erin. We'll look forward to seeing you online. So the dog in the middle, his name is Hank, and I happened to find this picture. He's literally wearing a sign that says, "My name is Hank and I eat dog food." But I guarantee you, little Hank is the only dog in the universe who eats bird food, and he is an anomaly for sure. And then the little dog on the right, I found this website where they were like shaming their dogs with little signs. The little guy on the right is saying, "I eat crayons and poop rainbows." Sorry, but I couldn't resist. But the dog on the far left is eating bacon, begging for bacon. That is what dogs like to eat. They don't like to eat bird food. Back to my point about dogs eating bird food. That's what selling to the wrong people feels like. It feels like trying to get a dog to eat bird food. It is a total uphill battle, and you just don't want to go there. Okay, so this is one of those things where I'm going to tell you how I failed big time early on in my business. I know what it's like to get in front of the wrong people. a couple of years ago, I was on my journey of learning and practicing sales, and I learned some frameworks for sales. I learned how to have the conversations, and I was practicing with peers in a program I was doing. And I started getting out there and having sales conversations with prospective customers. And I will tell you, this was not a fine moment in my business. I probably had about 30 or more of them within a few month period, and every single one of them said no. And here I was practicing. I was working with like a very an amazing mentor who's super successful. And all the feedback I was getting from her and her team and all the people in the program, that the conversations I was having were great. I was saying the right things. I was showing up with the right energy, but I still wasn't selling. And the funny thing was, Kim left the call, but she mentioned earlier in a question, how do you not overgive? That's a challenge. So one of the things I was doing was I was overgiving. And how I knew is, like, when you have a sales conversation and they say no, but then they send you a gift basket afterward, that's a sign that you gave too much. They got too much value from you. They didn't buy, but they sent you a thank you basket. The other thing I was doing was I wasn't getting in front of the right people. So here's the thing. I'm a business coach. I'm a lot of things, but if you want to boil it down to a 2-word answer, I'm a business coach. Most small business owners would benefit from working with me, because most small business owners have challenges and needs they need to overcome, right? But not all potential customers who need my help were willing and able to pay for my help, okay? So I was getting in front of business owners who needed me, right? But I wasn't getting in front of people who were necessarily willing and able to pay for that. I also wasn't meeting a couple of key thresholds in my business with my ideal client. So I was working at the time with a lot of healers and alternative health practitioners, as well as coaches. And I realized it wasn't just about having a business or being a woman entrepreneur or even being a conscious woman entrepreneur. There are a couple of really important thresholds that weren't being met. I was talking to people who did not meet a threshold of self-worth. And if you are a coach or a consultant or working with people on a personal issue, healers, I would say similarly, people have to have a threshold of self-worth in order to invest in themselves by working with you. And that was a criteria that I hadn't clearly defined and I wasn't meeting. And so what was I doing? I was trying to get dogs to eat bird food, right? And similarly, these people weren't invested enough in their business. So for coaches and consultants of any kind, your clients have to meet that self-esteem threshold, and they also have to meet a kind of a level of commitment. If they don't have a certain level of commitment, it's a no-go. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. So what are some ways to make sure you're getting in front of the right people? Okay, market research. So this is a fancy, business term for just getting to know your customers. And there's a few simple things you can do to test your market and get to know them better. Whether it's understanding where they're hanging out, so you know where to reach them, whether it's understanding what they want, so you can make sure to tailor your messaging and your product to serve what it is that they want and what they're willing to pay for. Simple interviews. You can speak to existing clients, past clients, or people who might be good prospects for you if you don't have current or past clients to draw from, and just ask them, what are their needs and desires? Describe what you're offering. Would they be willing and able to pay for that? Or what would they want to get out of it? Okay, and similarly, and you can do this in a 15-minute phone conversation with someone. You could do it in a group. It's called a focus group, which is a group of people that you get together and again ask for some feedback on actual experiences they've had with you in business, or describe something that you have as a service perhaps, and ask would that be of value to them. And also a survey is another way to do that. How many questions on the survey? Yeah, it varies. I like to keep these really simple, Condi, and I think it kind of depends what you want to know. Like if you're already pretty advanced in your business and you're wanting to offer a new program, and I do this at Condi and I are both eWomen members. It's a group here in Portland that we belong to, and once a month they have a sort of a little mini mastermind. And so sometimes I'll ask the group in one of those meetings, I'm going to offer a program on such and such. Here are the basics. What would you need to get out of that for it to be worth your while? So that's an example of a type of question if it's like program or product related. Other than that, I would say keep a survey relatively short. I also heard a really interesting thing. Call it a quiz, not a survey. Apparently people don't like surveys, but they love quizzes. So call it a quiz. And sometimes you'll get more response. I guess there's a bunch of market research on that fact. So was that helpful, Condi, to just kind of, I know it's not a definitive answer, but I think it kind of depends. Yeah, and it might depend, like if it's existing clients who already have an investment in a relationship with you, you might be able to ask them a few more questions or a few more detailed questions. If it's someone that hasn't invested with you yet, or that might be a prospect, you might want to keep it lighter. It depends on a few variables, but that's an excellent question. Does everyone understand the value of that? Like finding out directly from your market, you know, what they need, what's important to them, what are they willing to pay for versus guessing. And yeah, so one of the other things I like to share with my students, I teach business classes at Mercy Corps Northwest here in Portland. And one of the things I like to, we talk about market research and competitor research, and not doing research in your business is making assumptions. And making assumptions in your business without any information to back it up is basically gambling. So if you're not doing any market research, and if you're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what works to connect with your customers or to see if your product is viable, you're gambling with your time, your energy, your money. You know, we're all investing time, energy, and money to some level in our business. So know that you don't want to be making assumptions in your business where possible. So, and again, this doesn't have to be complicated. And there's a reason why companies spend billions of dollars on market research, because it helps them sell more. You don't have to spend billions of dollars or even hundreds of dollars. You can literally just have a conversation with people. Yeah. So yeah, Karen's saying she's having trouble finding prospective customers. Yeah, you might find who is in your customer pool. And it might be a little more challenging. Who are your customers exactly? I'll see if I can help you out a little on this one. Are you working, are your customers like industrial or? The bottom line is you need to find some of your customers and ask them. Yeah, middle-aged women willing to spend $50 on home decor. Okay. So, so yeah, you'll need to find a way to find some of those women and get with them. And if they're not your neighbors, if they're not immediate people in your, you know, friends and family circle, then yeah, you'll have to do a little more work to find some of those people and get creative with that. But that's a great question. Yep. And obviously market research should be ideally to present or past customers or to people who are a good prospect, who fit your ideal client profile, right? And a couple other things that you can do is, I think we're all familiar with the term demographics, right? Demographics would be, you know, gender, where people live, how much income they make, are they married or single, do they have kids, sexual orientation. Those are kind of the list of identifiers that we call demographics. And I think, again, you might think, you know, I want to work with health conscious single moms who love to do yoga and work from home. Okay. But psychographics are missing from that equation. Psychographics are about people's values and beliefs and behaviors, which is different. So conscious single moms who love to do yoga and work from home might be a good description, but what if those health conscious single moms are like super cheap and super duper frugal and they're not spending money on anything that doesn't have to do with their family and their kids, and you're offering self-care or healing or something, right? Or what if they have a value around something that's in conflict with what you're offering? So you really need to do that extra layer. And when I told my story earlier about people not meeting a threshold of self-worth and people not having a level of commitment, those are psychographics that I was leaving out of my customer profile, right? And you can ask questions like, are you 100% committed to solving this problem that you have? You know, Robin, I know you help people in their business as well, and you help them with courses and video. You might say, are you 100% committed to getting this course online and up and running? right? Or you might, that's like a commitment level test. There might be other values around that, right? Yeah, so Robin's saying, yeah, it makes a difference. So it sounds like you're already doing that. Fantastic. So again, if you're not in front of the right people, they might look like the right people if you're looking at the demographics. And for me, you know, small business owners who need my help, sure. But I wasn't including the psychographics, right? And remember, there's a big difference between people needing your service and people being willing to pay for it, okay? And in terms of those of us who might be doing coaching and service-based work, they have to be willing to do the work too. If they're looking for an easy button to get their business up and running, well, that's not a good client for me because there is no easy button to get your business up and running and creating cash flow. It takes work. I can help you do the work, but if you're not willing to do the work, that's a value disconnect that won't work. To be my client. So is that helpful for you guys? Are you clear on the importance of including the psychographics and how you can do some really simple basic market research to make sure? Okay, good. And if there's any other questions on this, now's the time to fire it into the chat box. Okay. All right. Let's move. Oh, 2 questions, Laura. Okay. Fire away. You have 2 best clients. Okay. Okay, great. Entrepreneurs and speakers who have to speak but can't or don't like to. Okay, great. Is that just sharing your full thing? You're approaching corporations, yeah, training and development departments. Fantastic. Did you have a question there, or were you just sharing your awesome clarity and who your market is? Because that's really awesome, by the way. All right. If that was a lead into a question, let us know. Oh, advice in approaching the 2 different segments. Yeah, that's not really what we're going to cover today, only because like approaching the 2 different segments really gets into marketing and lead generation. Certainly happy to have a follow-up conversation with you around that. And I certainly could offer some suggestions, but that might take us a little too far off track today. But keep that in mind, or if you want to shoot me an email, I'm happy to talk about some strategy for you on that. Yeah, thanks for asking. Great question. All right, I'm going to jump into superpower number 3, which is to provide value. So there's a few key ways to provide value. Does anyone want to hazard a guess? Like, what do I mean provide value? I'll give you a chance to take a guess in the chat box or share some wisdom you may have on this. What do you think I mean by providing value, and why is it important to help you increase your sales outcomes? Outcomes? Yeah, so do you mean, Condi, like helping them understand what outcome? Yeah, make it worth their time and money, yeah. Offer your customers something to solve their problems. Yeah. Yep. All of you are definitely on the right track, and that's part of it. Make a difference in their life. Yeah. So in a sales context, there's a few different ways to provide value that can really help you build a relationship with a customer, because sales is all about relationships, right? So here's a couple key ways. The first is to try before you buy, okay? I like to compare this to wine tasting. Remember before when I said I gave so much value in a strategy session that the customer said no, but they sent me a gift basket? I was giving away the whole bottle of wine there, and they took it and sent me a thank you, right? What I should have done was give them a taste. There's a reason they don't give you the whole bottle. They want you to taste it. If you like it, they want you to buy a glass or buy the bottle. So this is what I mean by proportional value. Find a way to give value without giving the farm away, okay? And it takes some practice to find that sweet spot. Where am I giving value without giving too much away? And honestly, you can think of it as, make sure you're not giving away the part you need to get paid for, the part that people can't do on their own, the part that really taps into the deeper part of your gifts, right? Careful not to give that away. Okay, the second way to provide value is just build the know, like, and trust factor, right? Let them get to know you and why you're a good solution. Yeah, Condi, like a strategy session. That's a great example. Or even spending time with them can build the know, like, and trust factor, right? The idea is, when people trust you and when they get to know you, they are more likely to want to do business with you. I think it was Karen, you said earlier, you're very genuine and you weren't really sure if that was, worth listing, and like, what do you bring in terms of being yourself? It absolutely is. If being genuine, or I think Laura maybe said you're a good listener, or somebody said you're a good listener, if those qualities help you build a relationship with someone so they can get to know you and like you and trust you, that absolutely is a way to provide value. So there's kind of a different context to look at that here, but those things do really matter. The third way to provide value is to be fully present. So I like to talk about this in terms of checking your baggage at the door. When I do this in a in-person workshop, I have a really big purse. Some of you, if you've seen me when I have my laptop with me, you've seen my giant purse. And if you're not being fully present and you're in a sales conversation, it's sort of like your baggage is the giant purse and you're holding it in front of your face between you and the person you're talking to. The person that you're wanting to enroll as your client, you've got your baggage sitting right between the two of you. And it's kind of hard. You haven't seen my giant purse, but trust me, it's hard to talk over, around, or through my giant purse, which is usually full of stuff and really heavy, right? Yeah, baggage is no bueno, exactly. So even at an unconscious level, even if you don't say anything about, remember we talked about one of the things that can take you off track is if you're fixated on your own needs. So it's really common to be like, oh, I really need to make this sale. I got to make rent this month or whatever, or I have a goal this month that's important. I really need this sale. Even if you don't say to the client, because I hope you wouldn't, I really need to make this sale. Even if you don't say that, energetically, they're going to feel that. So again, even if you're not being overt about it, people pick up on that, right? So take your big old baggage and make sure to check it at the door before you enter that sales conversation. And honestly, being fully present with that person in that conversation is a huge value. I'll give you another example that just came to mind. Have you ever been in a conversation and you're interested in someone's service and you're talking, and as soon as maybe they tell you, like I once had a conversation with this guy that I found his stuff online, and I forget what the product was, some marketing thing. And then I found out the price tag was like $10,000. And that was a little outside my budget by like all of it. But he promised a strategy session. He's going to help you all out. And he's going to help you with 3 tips, blah, blah, blah. Well, as soon as he found out that like the $10,000 was out of my price range, he got off the phone so fast. And it was really rude. He all but hung up on me. And he didn't give me any tips. And he didn't finish the conversation. So, and I guess, that was his baggage at the door. Like, he didn't finish the conversation with me. And again, for someone like him, if you have a high price tag like that and you're not giving people any inkling that it's a 5-figure price tag, well, you should be qualifying people better so you don't have to be rude and like hang up on them. But he wasn't being fully present with me. As soon as he found out that he wasn't going to make the sale from me, because I had no idea what the price was, I probably wouldn't have signed up if I knew it was a $10,000 thing that frankly wasn't worth it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, check your baggage at the door. The flip side of that is I run my business and enroll clients through strategy sessions. And there are times when I give a workshop or something, and I always offer people a chance to have a strategy session with me. And if you showed up for my workshop and you want one, I'll have one with you. It's just how I roll, because I believe in helping people whether you end up being my client or not. And I've had people that I know are not a good fit, and I still focus on being fully present and helping them how I can. Sometimes I might connect them with another resource that's a better fit for them, but I show up anyway, and that goes a long way. So those are just a couple, opposite examples of being fully present and not being fully present. Does that make sense? I'm sure you've all had experiences like that, right? Where somebody's showing up and they've got their baggage sitting right between you and it's difficult to have a conversation, or you're sensing that they're not fully present. Okay. Good. Yeah, even people who aren't a fit. Yeah, even people who aren't a good fit may know someone who is, exactly. And they might remember that you helped them where you could, right? They might be, you're giving someone else a chance to know, like, and trust you. And if they're not a direct fit, right? What is your yield from offering those strategy sessions? My business is full, Anne. I don't have a percentage for you. If you want to tell me a little more, are you trying to figure out what your conversion rate is? It's a good question, and I'm sorry that I don't have my number calculated for you. I haven't been tracking it recently. If you want to give me a little more specific information, I could try and help you with that. I have a pretty good rate, I guess. Again, I don't know the exact percentage. And I'm sorry, but you're prompting me to go calculate that after we get off this webinar. Yeah, did you have a further question around that, Anne? Just how to calculate it, or what to guess yours might be if you're not used to doing them? I can help you with some of those aspects of that, if that's helpful. And I'm gonna let you circle back in the chat box when you're ready. All right. So what are some ways that you can provide value? So I'm going to give you a moment here to just think about what are some ways that you can provide value. Again, we want to make sure it's proportional value. Don't give away too much. Some examples might be a free consultation, a free webinar. It could be a gift. Like, a lot of people have a website, or to get on the mailing list, they'll offer you like an ebook or something. Or, Condi had this great link that she put in the chat earlier about her forgiveness audio, like something like that could be a great free gift. So again, just remember, you're giving a taste, not the whole bottle of wine. So I'm going to give you just a couple minutes to brainstorm, and it might be something that you're already doing, or just, if you're not already providing value in this way, think of a few ideas of ways that you could provide value to your prospective clients. And feel free to jump in and share in the chat if there's things that you're already doing, or as you come up with ideas, and I'll give you a little time for that. Condi's asking, do you suggest doing a strategy session for free? I do. There's a lot of, there's some differing opinion. I was gonna say a lot of differing opinion. I don't think there's a lot of differing opinion. Do you mean like versus doing a paid one? Yeah. Here are the situations where I think doing a free one works, and here's where I think a paid one works. If you are in an early stage of your business and trying to reach your tipping point, or trying to get beyond bootstrapping, I think a free session is 100% the way to go. Especially if you're getting in front of qualified, if you know your client and you're getting in front of the right people, I think it's a great way to go. That's how I built my business. I have yet to charge for a strategy session. I think the time to charge for a strategy session or to sell differently is when you are busy enough that you might not have time to do individual strategy sessions with prospective clients. And it depends on a lot of things. Are you working with lots of one-on-one people, or some people, if they're running larger group programs? If you have, some people are doing online group programs that might have 50 or 100 people. Well, you might not have time to have one-on-one sessions with 50 or 100 people. So you might do a direct sell online, or you might ask for that time to be paid. Lots of one-on-one, but that is changing. Yeah. So it might be time to kind of look at what you're doing and look at some shifts, Condi. And if you want to talk about that strategy, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about, what your business looks like and what might work for you. Yeah, that's a great question. And again, I think I don't often recommend charging for the strategy session. If it's about scaling up and serving more people, it's often more about selling directly online, like making a paid offer for enrolling people directly in a program versus a free strategy session first. Does that make sense, Condi? Okay. Yeah, and again, if you want to talk more about that, I'm happy to have a separate conversation. Karen is saying a discount on future purchases. Yeah, Karen, my one thing that I would say about that is make sure you're not underpricing yourself. If you want to offer a discount for people to continue to work with you longer term, that's great. As long as you're pricing the products and those discounts in a way that isn't undercutting you. You don't want to undercharge. But other that aside, as long as you're not undercharging, yes, offering a discount or incentivizing them is a great way to add extra value. Yeah, great. Anyone else have some ideas that you could provide value or some maybe some ways you're already? Yep. Connie's saying video, ebooks, audio. Yep, all great things. Things that people can take away and kind of do on their own time and continue to kind of spend time with you, as it were. You know, like they're not with you, Condi, when they're listening to your forgiveness audio, but they're also kind of with you. So they're getting to know you even though you're not with them in person. So yeah, and they're learning and getting some value out of that. Great. What about some ways that you can be more fully present? Emily's saying ebooks, checklists. Not sure if any kind of a call makes sense as a freebie. Yeah, and for Emily, for you, it might still be a consultation. If they've got an event, you know, having a consult around what the estimate would be, how you could serve them, being able to, in that conversation, say all the different ways you'll make it easier because you're organized and on top of the details. And if you could paint a vision for how you're going to take stuff off their plate and they can show up at their event and mostly enjoy it and that you'll do the legwork, I think a consultation might make sense. So yeah, I think it depends on how you're working with people, but yeah. Condi's saying doing a challenge, like a 5 to 30 day challenge, yeah, and engaging people and helping build a relationship and help them work toward a result. That's a great idea. Okay, I want to talk about some ways to be fully present, right? We talked about, you know, being fully present is another important way that you provide value. So you want to find ways to give your undivided attention, focus, and energy, right, to the people in the sales conversation with you or the person in the sales conversation. And this makes them feel valued. This is about focusing on them and their needs and how you can help them. So a big part of this is, again, letting go of your needs, your fears, and any pressures on you that might be connected with the sale. Whether it's a financial need or trying to make a quota for your company or for your own personal goals. If you go into that sales conversation with your needs hanging over you, whatever they are, it's going to hang over you like a little cloud, and the client is going to feel that, and it's going to be a turnoff. So I want you to think about how you can focus on them. And this is a really powerful shift in your mindset and energetically. It shifts your energy to a place of genuine concern and caring and away from any neediness or discomfort that you might feel. And the other really beautiful thing about this is it'll help you be more comfortable. I guarantee you that all of us on this call are more comfortable helping someone than we are being in a sales conversation. And what if you got into that energy for your sales conversation, showing up in service and really focusing on how can I help this person? How can I help them solve this problem that they have? It's so much more comfortable than thinking, oh my God, am I going to make the sale? What am I going to get out of it? Totally different energy. And this is one of those really powerful shifts that can actually help you with any nerves or anxiety that you might have around sale, is literally just to do what you have to do to focus on them and their needs. It can neutralize all the discomfort and maybe icky feelings that you might have going into it, or that fear that you might be pushy, if you really genuinely show up and focus on them. So I want to give you a moment to share in the chat box or take a few notes. What are some things that you can do to make sure that you're being fully present? Condi's saying asking questions that helps you understand exactly what they're experiencing and how you can best help. Absolutely. Absolutely. Asking questions that show your interest, that show that you're finding out information on the path to being able to help them. Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably one of the most powerful ones right there, to be honest. Laura's saying meditate ahead of time and utilize some breathing exercises throughout. Yep. And you need to go. I'm so sorry to hear that, but thanks for coming and joining us today and for being here. And absolutely, I think meditating and just checking in with yourself throughout, not rushing through. If you take notes or if you have a notebook, you might even have a little note on your notebook. Just remember to take a breath, remember to breathe, right? And remember to focus. Thanks, Laura. Take care. Okay, so yeah, those are all great ways to be present. And again, we talked a little bit about this in terms of, being yourself. It could also just be close your eyes and get grounded before, or set an intention. It can be something that easy. And the more you do it, and the more you learn to leave your baggage behind and to really focus and show up in service, the more you will become comfortable with sales. Again, it sounds like an easy thing. It's really one of the pieces of inner work that help you be more successful in sales. But it sounds so simple, but if you don't do it, it doesn't work. So I think creating a little extra time to do this practice is important. Okay, so let's look at superpower number 4, which I call take a stand. So what do I mean by that? So there's really 2 different ways to take a stand. The first is to take a stand for yourself. And we'll talk more about that and what that means in a moment. And the other thing is to take a stand for your clients. So what do I mean by that? Taking a stand for yourself is about believing in yourself and your value, because here's the thing. Your clients won't believe. Bye, Emily. Thanks for joining us. You'll catch the rest later. Taking a stand for yourself is necessary because your clients won't believe in your value until you do, okay? This is really, really important. Your business will only succeed as far as your mindset will allow it. So if you have limiting beliefs in your business or about yourself, that's your internal glass ceiling. So you need to work on your belief in yourself. And there's a few key areas where you need to strengthen your belief and take a stand for yourself. You need to believe in yourself. That's the first one. Number 1, believe in yourself. Number 2, you need to believe in your product or service. Okay? If you don't believe that your product or service has value or that it's worth it, they won't either. So you really have to get behind that energetically. Number 3 is belief in the value of your offer. You need to believe in the value that you provide your clients through the product and service and everything else they get when they hire you. Because they don't just get the product or the program, they get you. So you need to believe in the value of everything that they get when they hire you. Okay, number 4 is you have to have a belief that you deserve to succeed. If you have an underlying belief that says you're not worthy or you don't deserve to succeed, that's going to undercut you every step of the way. So you need to build that belief. And the 5th one is you need to believe and desire to be profitable. I see this a lot with those of us in more helping professions or healers. Sometimes people have trouble reconciling the fact that they want to make money in their business, but they're helping people. And it's really important. You have to want to make a profit. Business isn't all about profit. And I certainly don't teach business being all about profit, but it's in large part about making a profit, right? And it doesn't mean profiting at other people's expense. It means profiting at other people's benefit. If you are in a helping profession, if you are a healer or a coach or helping people with something, you are making a profit and making money in exchange for tremendous value that you give them in exchange for what they pay you. So know that and build your belief around that. Yeah, Karen, you're totally right. Women do have a problem with these beliefs. It's very common. And Condi also, yeah, you totally nailed it. Business is an exchange in energy, right? And when I provide you value with my service, you provide me the exchange value and monetary value. And all money is a currency that's so I don't have to trade you for, chicken eggs or something, right? All it does is give us a universal way to exchange value. So these are really, really important. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to repeat those 5 areas again. And I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How strong is your belief? Okay. So I'm going to say the 5 values first and then give you a minute to rate yourself. So the first one is belief in yourself. Number 2 is belief in your product or service. Number 3 is belief in the value of your offer. Number 4 is belief that you deserve to succeed. And number 5 is the belief and desire to be profitable. And so now I want you to go back for each of those and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you don't believe that, and 10 is like rock solid. I own that. And this is just for you to check in and look at where the opportunities are to build your mindset so that you can take a stand for yourself. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to process that. And if you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat box as we go, or if you're feeling challenged. So when you're done, if there's anything you'd like to share, maybe you're surprised at a high or a low score, or overall, like if you have a sense of where you might need to do some work on your mindset, whatever's coming up for you around this, I'd love for you to just share if you're willing to in the chat. And if not, that's okay. Just let us know when you're ready to move to the next thing. Either way is fine. Just give me a sign. Great. So Kandi's saying this was good to check in with my beliefs. I feel really good. Mostly 10s. Fantastic. Well, congratulations. I love to hear that. And I know that your work is about doing a lot of the inner work, so I'm not surprised to hear that. But I think it's unusual, and I want to really acknowledge you for doing that work and being mostly in the 10s. That's fantastic. And Karen's saying, I struggle with how to express that I believe in what I'm creating. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, Karen? Yeah, Kandi, you're right. You have to do the work you help other people through. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Karen, just because you haven't sold yet, obviously you might not be reaching people yet. There might be some other ways to kind of quantify the value or build your belief. You could get feedback from other people that you around what you're working on. Again, I haven't seen your work yet, so it's hard for me to say. Or it could just be sitting down and writing and getting in touch with the value. And again, the value might not just be your product or design services. It might be also who you bring to the table. Let me give you a real quick example. I have a good friend who's a landscaper. We went to business school together. He's a great guy. He works here locally in Portland. And when he started doing more and more landscaping and growing his business in the market, he realized there's lots of good landscapers here, but typically they're flaky, and typically they don't communicate well, and they don't follow up well with customers. And so he differentiates himself not just by the landscape design that he does or the yard maintenance services that he can offer, but he differentiates himself and sees the value in providing awesome customer service because people in his market aren't doing it very well. So again, there may be some other ways, Karen, in addition to just your design, where you can take a stand and commit to providing other layers of that service to clients. Does that help at all to kind of get your head around the belief in your value? Yeah, Nadia, that's a great question. So the difference between believing in your product and service and believing in the value of it, they're very similar. So Here's an example. I have a coaching program. I might believe in my coaching program's ability to deliver specific outcomes to the clients that enroll in it, but I might not believe in what I priced it at. I might not believe it's worth a certain dollar amount. Does that help? So for software, you it might be, yeah, do you believe that the software that you're selling provides value? Do you believe in it? Does it work? Do you feel it's high quality? And then do you believe it's worth the price point? Yeah, great question. You're the first person to ask that question. I'm actually kind of surprised, but that's a fantastic question. Okay, so let's look at the other way to take a stand, and that's about taking a stand for your clients, okay? So what does that mean? This is about your commitment to helping your clients reach their goals, and it's about finding ways to let them know it. So this really builds on being fully present and takes it to the next level. So a great way to do this is if you have a free consultation, for example, you can let them experience you supporting them and make a commitment to help them with their goals before they enroll with you as a client. I'll give you an example of what it looks like to take a stand for somebody versus being more generic. So, for example, if I was in a sales conversation with you and I said, well, Sally, I have a great sales training program. It's going to help you double your profits, blah, 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 feature, benefit, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm telling them what I'm selling. Okay, typical maybe, right? Nothing earth-shattering there. And maybe not even offensive. I said blah, blah, blah in the middle, which maybe made it sound not as good, but that could be professional enough. But here's the difference. Sally, my program is designed to help you increase your sales, and I'm committed to supporting you through each step of the process so that you can take the actions you need to meet your goals. Can you feel the difference? So in the first one, I just described a product, basically. I've got this program. It'll help you with this. Here's what it does. It'll double your profits. The second one, I got real personal because in a sales conversation, I've gotten to know Sally. I don't know why I like calling her Sally, but I'm going to call her Sally. So I've gotten to know Sally. I've asked Sally some questions, and I understand what's important to Sally. And she's told me what she wants to get and how she wants to improve her sales. So instead of just saying, I have this product I want to sell you, I'm going to say, Sally, I get how important this is to you. And I want you to know that I'm going to be here to help you through it. And this program is going to really serve you and the needs that you have. And understanding what they value, definitely, and taking a stand for that. I'm stepping into Sally's vision. Sally has shared with me the outcome that she wants, and I'm helping Sally see that she can have that. Does that make sense to you guys? Versus, I have a product, I think it would really help you, you should buy it. Right. And so for you, Karen, it might have something to do with a design outcome. You know, I understand that, your home environment is really important to you and your family, and it's an important expression of yourself that other people experience. And I'm committed to helping you create a design that makes you feel good and reflects the best of you and your family and your home. Something like that. I mean, I pulled that out of thin air, and I don't know a lot about your business, but was that helpful to kind of hear another example of what that might, make it emotional, or just tie it back to who they are and what they want. But I guess make it emotional is a good way to say that. I don't usually use that word because I feel like in the big marketing world, I feel like there's a lot of push to artificially appeal to people's emotions, because emotions are what drive people to make buying decisions. But, as long as you're not abusing it, yes, you're right. Make it emotional. I guess I have a charge on that word for myself, don't I? And you've been reading it online. Exactly. And this is a way to do that in a very authentic way, right? Anyone else have questions about taking a stand for your clients, or if you're not sure what that would look like for you? And sometimes it could be, Nadia, for you, you're competing with a lot of free services, right? For you, it might be, hey, Sally, I understand that there definitely are some other competitors doing this. Here's the difference and why I think our product is a better fit for you. And it might be the free services don't have as good customer support. It might be they're missing an important feature that she needs. But if you could help paint a picture of, why your software is going to help her get what she wants, that's a way to take a stand. Again, any other questions around this? And, in the business world, other than this, appeal to their emotions to sell, we say business isn't personal, but business is personal. When you're a solopreneur and you're running your own business, this is definitely personal. And when you're in a sales conversation, it is definitely personal. You're building a relationship with someone. So don't be afraid to take a stand. And this is a really, really powerful skill to develop. And for those of you who might be coaches or healers, you probably already have some of this sales skill set. And I would say for women in general, we tend to be more caring. Yeah. So Anne, that's great. And I think when you're not showing up genuinely, or if you have a discomfort and you haven't gotten used to this, you might risk feeling or coming across as manipulative. And the big thing really is about being genuine. So, I mean, for example, Anne, when I said it a couple minutes ago, did it feel manipulative to you? If it did, you can say yes, it's okay. Yeah, so it might have felt like a sales pitch because we're in a workshop and I'm, following notes, and this is a story that I tell regularly. If I'm in a real conversation with someone, it's not going to feel like a sales pitch because I'm fully present and I'm speaking to that person, right? So I think it's up to you to create that conversation. And the other thing I will tell you guys over and over, back to the marathon, it takes practice. And this is why when people are like, what do I say? Do you have a script for me? It's not about the script. It's not about what you say. It's about how you show up. If you're selling something of value that people really want and you're genuine when you show up, it doesn't always matter what you say. So I think, and the other part of that is you want to get used to, as a coach in particular, people have a vision. Tell us in the chat box, Anne, what kind of coaching do you do? Who are your ideal clients and what do you help them with? Healthcare professionals. Okay, and what do you help them with? Life and leadership coaching. Okay. So for you, I was like, oh, she'll give me her name and I'll have the perfect example just by reading what she does. And of course, my mind just went blank. You're going to want to develop a conversation to understand what it is that they want. Not to go too off on a tangent, but are you going to be using a discovery session model to enroll clients? And I guess, Anne, if you're not going to use a discovery session model to enroll coaching clients, you already do this, okay. Yeah. And again, the being too eager, that's an energetic imbalance, and that's needing to check your baggage at the door and just get grounded and show up and be in service and fully present. I can guarantee you that when I'm in a discovery session or a strategy session with people, I don't come off as salesy. And I've had people regularly tell me the reason I wanted to work with you is because you were not salesy. The reason I like working with you and decided to enroll in your program or work with you is because you didn't pitch me. So, thanks for the feedback. And I might need to look at how I'm talking about this in this workshop, and part of it is getting comfortable with myself. Part of it is totally owning the value of what I do, which has taken me a while to do, and doing the work in my business and growing into the value that I offer. It's taken me a while to really be able to own that. You know, like Condi said, she's mostly 10s on that belief scale. I'm mostly 10s too. I wasn't mostly 10s when I started, right? But I really believe in the value, and it becomes easier to use, right? Yeah. No. Thanks, Anne. I didn't take it as a diss at all, right? But I think it's great because I think your point is you don't want it to feel like a sales pitch. And I think when you do this well and when you practice it and get to a point where your beliefs are stronger, you won't sound like a pitch, if that makes sense. Yeah. So no, thanks for asking the question. It wasn't a diss at all. I was just trying to convey that, you know, I wanted you to understand that the feedback in real life isn't how it might have sounded here. So yeah, no, it's a great question though. And again, practice. The more you can practice it with friends, you can practice with family members. Practicing these parts of your sales conversation, they help you not feel or sound scripted. And they help, you know, my mentor a few years ago used to say, I want you to be able to talk about the money, like you're saying, please pass the salt at dinner. And similarly, I want to help you guys learn where you can get to these places where you're taking a stand for your clients as if you're saying something without any charge on it at all. And it just takes practice. But yeah, no, Anne, thanks for the conversation. I appreciate it. I didn't take it as a diss at all. So hope you weren't worrying about that. Okay, I'm going to move along unless there are other questions about this. Other questions about taking a stand for your clients? Okay. Good discussion, you guys. Okay. So let's move on to superpower number 5. This is my favorite one, and I always save the best for last. This is the number one sales secret that no one ever talks about. When we talk about sales, we don't talk about the product at all, but we should, right? It's a lot like getting in front of the right people. If your product isn't compelling and appealing to the people you want to serve, how much harder is it going to be to sell? Well, it's going to be impossible, right? So you have to make sure that you have something great to sell. There's a lot of benefits to this. When you have something great to sell, first of all, it gives you something to talk about other than yourself. And especially if you're a solopreneur and you have a service-based business, it takes you out of the conversation, right? And a lot of what makes sales uncomfortable is that we feel like we're self-promoting. Who here feels like self-promotion feels like a dirty word, like you don't like self-promotion? It's uncomfortable. If that feels uncomfortable to you, put that in the chat box. Having something great to sell, by taking you out of the equation, it helps shift you out of self-promotion mode. Yeah. And this is one of the most common things that makes people feel uncomfortable. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at having something great to sell and why it's so important. So by having something great to sell, it's going to help you attract more ideal clients. When you have a crystal clear, compelling product or service that you're selling, people will be drawn to it because they can understand what it is and they can see how it's going to help them, right? Number 2, it's easy to talk about and share, right? It's easy to talk about something other than yourself. If you are at least 1 degree separated from what you're selling, again, you're not selling yourself, you're selling something outside yourself, it becomes immediately easier to talk about and share. And by extension, it becomes easier to sell, okay? And the third thing, again, it helps shift you from self-promotion to value promotion. This is huge. You know, talking about values, benefits, and outcomes, that should be the heart of your sales conversation. But that's hard to do if you're not clear about the value that you offer, or if what you're offering doesn't have a lot of value. So by creating value and having something great to sell, it's a huge shift. It's going to simplify. So for coaches and consultants and other service-based solopreneurs, what does that look like? This is what I call a powerful client program. And this is a big part of what I do with clients. I help them create powerful client programs so they have something great to sell. It simplifies all of your sales and marketing, and it helps you spend more time on what you love doing and less time on sales and marketing, okay? It gives you a structure, and it gives you a process for how you do the hand holding and how you're holding clients accountable for whatever it is they came to you for help with, okay? Having a client program like this also, it's gonna help you stand in your value, and it's gonna help you take a stand for your clients. And I'll tell you, the process that I take people through helps you define and understand your value, because it's a lot easier to stand in your value if you define it clearly, right? You might even add to the value in the process, depending on what you learn and what you're already doing, okay? And it also makes it a lot easier to take a stand for your clients. So these are some pretty powerful benefits. Let's look at a few more. So powerful client programs help you increase credibility. Coaching is such a great example. And I say this, I am a coach at heart. I've been coaching for years. I love the profession of coaching, but I think selling coaching is very difficult, like selling consulting or selling wellness. All those things are really vague. People don't know what coaching is sometimes, or consulting. They can mean a lot of different things. So when you have a program that defines and gives structure to how you work with clients, it increases your credibility. People know you have enough expertise that you built something for them. That's really significant. Structure makes clients feel confident. Again, for coaches, consultants, and even healers, structure makes people feel safe. And ultimately, if you're in one of these professions, you're helping people through some kind of a change. People hate change. People resist change. We're all good at it. And in order for people to feel confident that you can help them get through whatever change, and for you, it might be improved leadership performance, right? For me, it would obviously be better business performance. Kim was on the call earlier. I know Kim helps women recover from divorce and work through the emotions after divorce so they can kind of reclaim their lives. These are big changes. And having structure and knowing that you've got a process you're going to take them through makes people feel confident investing with you. Again, simplifies your marketing and sales 10 different ways. It's really powerful. Client programs also help you focus on value, results, and outcomes. The process of creating a program is going to have you up to your eyeballs in the value, results, and outcomes that you provide for clients. And by getting to know those things more intimately, it becomes easier to talk about. And those are some of the things that are going to help you stand in your value. And then the other thing that's really key is people will feel safe investing with you. The structure that a program provides, the fact that you built something for them, and it's not just this gray area of consulting or coaching or wellness. It's more specific, and people feel more safe investing with you. And those are really important parts of making a sale. People need to feel safe. They need to know, well, am I going to get my money's worth? And having a structure of a program helps people get that feeling, get that need met, okay? The other benefits of powerful client programs are it helps you attract and retain more clients. Again, we talked about it helping you define and stand in your value. The other great thing is that a well-done client program, it's really a delivery system for your services. So from an operational standpoint, you have a system you take people through. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. And this can greatly improve your customer service, and it can help you deliver better customer outcomes. So those are really powerful benefits. And this really is a win-win. It's a win for you as the person running the program and offering it. And it's a win for the clients that you bring through the programs. And that's one of the things I love about them. And then the other great thing that programs to do is help you create more predictable recurring income. And anyone who's ever been in a startup phase of a business, particularly a solopreneur service business, knows that that can be a real challenge to create. So anything that gives you a leg up, creating that predictable recurring income is really important. So I have a case study that I'd like to share just for a moment. I have a client who's an educational consultant, and when she came to me, She hated sales, she hated marketing, and she was really struggling. So she was offering $800 day-long workshops to school systems, and her expertise was really improving school performance. So public schools who had low test scores, for example, and oftentimes they get a tap on the shoulder from state or federal government saying, hey, you guys, you got to get your game up. You got to improve your outcomes for these students. So she was marketing these one-day workshops, but then she had to go and market again to get the school to take a next step with her. So we created a powerful client program. And we started by looking at, well, what is the outcome she wants to provide? Well, she wanted to help the school turn around their test scores. And we said, okay, how long do you need? And she decided, well, she needed really an academic school year for that. So we built a program based on that. And she went from these $800 day workshops that left her continuing to hustle and chase down the next step with a client. She went from that to a year-long program where a school could pay her $20,000 or $2,000 a month, right? And they knew that they were going to be taken through a process. And the first time she pitched this to a school principal, she said he got a little teary-eyed because he could see the value, and there was so much pressure on him to deliver that result. But with this program that she put together had structure. It defined the value. It showed him the process. And he said it took so much pressure off him because he didn't know how to get that result. And it helped him trust her and engage with her on the process. So that's just one example. And that's a big example. Not all my clients have programs that are that big or that long. But you can see the huge outcome from making, $800 here and there to really being able to have one or two clients. And this is a consultant who was retired. And so does consulting in retirement. So she only wanted one or two schools to work with, and that was enough for her. And she didn't have to be in sales mode all the time. She could enroll the one or two clients, work the system, take them through the process, and that was enough for her. But it was a really powerful way to position her services. Yeah, I love that story. I think it's, and many client programs do offer a chance to really magnify the income that you're making. And there's a few different reasons for that, and hers is probably, the most dramatic. So that gives you a little sense of the 5 superpowers of confident selling. And just to review quickly, there be yourself, know your customers, provide value and make sure it's proportional value. Remember, just a taste, not the whole bottle. You want to take a stand for yourself and for your customers. And the final thing, and really the most important, where it all starts, is have something great to sell. So I want to open the door again for a few questions. And then I have some resources to share with you, which I'll jump into. But I want to first hear what questions do you have, if any, before we kind of move on to the next phase. And I guess I'm going to open it up to 2 questions, but also what were your biggest takeaways? So let's mix that up. If you have a question, or what were your biggest takeaways from our conversation today? Any questions or takeaways? Great. Karen's saying, everything you said applies to me because I communicate in writing everything you described. Okay. Connie's saying the biggest takeaway was to get your program finished. Yeah. If you have a program in the works, definitely. Definitely. Any other questions or takeaways? Nadia's saying the biggest takeaway is structure in the sales process. Yeah. Structure is a powerful thing for ourselves and for our clients. And I think sometimes we shy away from it. I kind of like value. You want a proportional measure of structure. You don't want so much structure that it's rigid, but structure is definitely a good thing. Okay. So what if you guys could find a solution for all these sales challenges that we talked about today? Would you be excited to hear about one solution that helped you up your game, be yourself, provide proportional value, have something great to sell, and get in front of the right customers? What if you could find one solution for all the things that we've talked about today? So I'm going to introduce to you, Condi said she might jump out of her chair. Put your seatbelt on, girl. So I'm going to share with you a program that I have called How to Sell Your Superpowers. And so I built this program based on work I've been doing for a couple of years with my VIP clients. And it really does address everything we talked about today. It's a 6-week program. It starts again in a couple of weeks. And I want to share with you a little bit about how it works and what the value is. So in 6 weeks, this program will help you have something great to sell. There's a component of program design and a process that I take people through. It will also help you refine your message, build your confidence, and take the mystery out of marketing. So it'll help you learn to be more authentic in your messaging. It'll help you have the tools to get in the mind of your customer so you can understand them better, so you can serve them better, and so that you can sell to them more successfully. It'll help you stand in your value. It's going to help you set a profitable price point and understand how to set a profitable price point. I feel like one of the biggest things I see with solopreneurs is people are underpricing themselves. And so I have a whole module on pricing, what that looks like, and the factors and variables that relate to that so that you can set a profitable price point. And I think one of the biggest things is it helps you build belief in yourself. The process that you go through, diving into the value that you offer and the inner work that you'll do along the way is really, really powerful. And of course, the number one sales secret that no one ever talks about, you'll walk away from this program with something great to sell. So some of the clients that I've taken through this program have really had great results. So this client said when she started, she had a bare outline for her coaching program. Now she has valuable content, benefits, and steps for transformation. She likes that I guided step by step, which is the way she works best in creating something new. She got so much clarity and forward momentum during the program and appreciates the knowledge and experience she got from it. I will tell you, this client went from struggling to sell individual coaching sessions by the hour to enrolling clients in a $2,000 client program. That is the power of How to Sell Your Superpowers. It helped her build a strong foundation for her business so that sales and marketing became more clear and easier. And this program will help you focus on ways to provide value. You need to understand, value is what your clients are willing to pay for at the end of the day. And that's what you'll have them saying yes to working with you at the end of this program, because you're going to be crystal clear on your value. So another client who went through this program said that instead of offering client sessions basically a la carte, she's creating more structure for them and realizes that she's the expert and ultimately knows what they need to see real results. So this is a healer who has shifted from individual a la carte sessions to a healing program because she knows that they're going to get better results. Like, can they go to one healing session and get results? Yes. But in 6 months, they're going to have a massive health turnaround. And so she created a program that serves their health best. And it's a win-win. They get their results and she gets to work with people over a longer time and she gets the reward of them getting their results as well. So that's the beauty of having a powerful client program and using it as the base and the model for your business. Okay. And another client said this program was a game changer for her. It was easily worth twice what she paid. And that is a regular feedback. And I think some of the things in this program are really things that other coaches and other business owners aren't doing. So, and I'm really proud of it. And I think I've based a lot of it on my own experience. And again, the struggles that I've seen in my clients and students over the years. So here's a little bit more about what you would get in this program. And I'd love for you to think, if this isn't a fit for you, I'd love for you to think, who do you know that might benefit from this program? So this program is 6 in-depth self-study video lessons. It also has 6 live group calls with weekly assignments to keep you moving forward and create momentum. It is full of game-changing business strategy. It is also full of things that simplify your business. I'm a big believer in keeping things simple, especially as a solopreneur. If you're not keeping it simple, you're working against yourself right there. And we also have a really interactive Facebook group. So for ongoing feedback, I like to call it a sandbox. It's a place where you can go and play, test out ideas, get feedback, and practice what you're learning. And I think there's huge value to that. And all the calls are recorded. So if you can't make one of the live calls, or if you have a conflict, you can always go back and listen in. So this is really a huge value that you can engage with. You can re-listen to calls if that's helpful, and they're all made available to you online. So here are the key things that you'll learn in this program. The 3 things every solopreneur needs to succeed. There are 3 things that you need that your business literally cannot grow without them. So I'll share with you what those are, and we'll weave those 3 things into every part of the process. Then there are 3 building blocks of business that are absolutely non-negotiable. They're not only critical to sales, but to your entire business. And in this program, I'm going to take you through them one by one so that you have a steady, strong foundation to grow your business and generate cash flow. You can't grow a business without these 3 things, and you have to do them in order, or you'll result in really an uphill battle with your sales and marketing. So we really drill down the foundations and setting you up for success. The third thing we're going to really talk about is how to set your perfect price point. We're going to talk about how to understand pricing. You need to understand your costs. You need to understand a few basic numbers, right? And you can do this without fancy, complicated spreadsheets, but you need to know a few key numbers, and you'll get to know what they are so that you can set a perfect price point that reflects the value of your product and also helps you meet your business goals, because you need to be meeting your business and finance goals. Because if your business isn't profitable, you're not in business. You have a hobby. So I want to really support you to get to a place where you're profitable in your business. Other things that you learn include, messaging mistakes. There are basic messaging mistakes that people make in their marketing that are going to cost you customers. And so by avoiding some of those key mistakes, it'll help you refine your messaging so that you can connect with your customers. And that is going to really smooth things along with your sales and marketing as well. And then finally, simple 3-step marketing. The only marketing plan you'll ever need. Again, I'm a huge fan of keeping things simple. This is a proven plan. And the client that I mentioned who went from struggling to sell coaching sessions to enrolling clients in a $2,000 program, this is the very same program that she has been following that's getting her results. So those are the things that you'll walk away with. I think the biggest benefit really is getting clarity, confidence, and a renewed belief in yourself and in your business vision, and getting the tools to make your business vision your business reality. I think that's the biggest benefit, because how we feel about ourselves in business, sometimes that drives everything or stops everything. So this program is for you if you're 100% committed to your business goals, if you're ready to get out of perpetual startup mode or take things to the next level, or if you know you're doing great work, but you need help selling it, okay? That's a big one. I know so many people out there, and that's why I do this work. I know so many people with gifts and a passion, but they need help enrolling people so they can make a living at it. If you're one of those people, this could be a great fit for you. And if you want to create a win-win business model that benefits your clients and your bottom line, this is for you. This isn't about, pricing and arbitrarily raising your rates to make money. This is about providing value to people and getting value in return in a way that feels good to everyone involved. And I think that's really, really important, especially for those of us who consider ourselves conscious entrepreneurs. Energetically, we want it to feel good to us and to our clients. And I'm going to help you find that sweet spot. That's what this program is really about. This might not be a fit for you if you're not 100% committed to your business, right? Or if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone. There's definitely some inner work that happens throughout this process, right? Learning to take a stand for yourself, learning to own your value. Those are things that require some inner work that are part of the program. And if you're not willing to do that, or if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, this might not be a fit for you. Or if you're looking for an easy button or not open to making changes in your business to get better results, it might not be the best fit for you, or you might not be ready. But if you are, or if you know someone who is, I would love it if you would consider sharing this with people that you know. So are you ready to up-level your business? Because that's what How to Sell Your Superpowers is really all about. If you're a coach or a consultant and you're trying to get beyond bootstrapping, or you're trying to reach your tipping point, or you're just ready to create more confidence and cash flow in your business and put some systems in place that are simple, but that are going to help you support business growth, then this program is probably a good fit for you. So, what's the value of this program? What's the cost? That's such a great question. So, let's take a quick look at that. So this program is valued at around $1,500, and I have priced it at $597. And the reason I do that is because part of my mission is to make business education and tools accessible to solopreneurs who are still working on reaching that tipping point, who are still working on that getting beyond bootstrapping phase. So I've tried to price this program accordingly because I want to help small business owners who are still working on creating cash flow. And this is a tremendous value. It's going to give you business tools and perspectives that you simply won't get elsewhere. And in terms of sales of marketing, the other huge thing this program does is it helps you create your business in the appropriate order. I think a lot of people I see, jumping ahead to sales and marketing when they're not really clearly defining what they're selling. You can't market something if you don't get clear on what you're marketing first. So this is what this program is going to do. It's that 80% of behind the scenes stuff that has to happen for you to be successful marketing and selling your services. So really critical to lay this foundation that, again, I think many small business owners and solopreneurs are struggling because they're not taking these critical steps. So also for you guys being here today, or if you're listening to the recording, I have a special offer for all of you who are here. I've got a special offer for the first 10 people who enroll in this program. You'll also get a bonus coaching session with me. So this is a one-on-one coaching session, a $200 value, and that means extra support to use however you want during the course of the program. And this will help you get the most out of it so you can really supercharge your sales and build a more profitable business, because it's a lot to take in. There are some moving pieces. As much as I try and keep it very, very simple, you're still going to have questions and want specific support that relates directly to your business. So I'm going to offer you a chance to have a one-on-one coaching session with me for the first 10 people who sign up for How to Sell Your Superpowers. And it's really simple to register. All you do is go to mariamcnulty.com/how to sell your superpowers. And that's all spelled out with a dash in between each of those words, how to sell your superpowers. And I'm going to also remind you that this link is going to be in the email that you received. You received this recording by email, and there's a link to How to Sell Your Superpowers right in that email. So that's a really easy, fast place to find it, so you don't have to worry about typing it all out or maybe mistyping, because it's kind of a long name. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for being here, whether you were here live and contributed to a fantastic conversation that we had, or if you're joining us listening to the recording. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. Again, I'm really passionate about supporting solopreneurs to succeed in business, and so if you got some value out of this, please give me the feedback, or you can share it on my Facebook page, or find a way to let me know, because I love hearing what did you love about it, what would you like more of, and finally, just really thank you for taking the time and coming out today. Here's my email address. Feel free to reach out to me. And once again, there's a link for How to Sell Your Superpowers. Have a fantastic day. Good luck in your business. And I hope you'll continue to let me know how I can support you. Best of luck, onward and upward. And I really hope to see you on the flip side in the How to Sell Your Superpowers program.